did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu, and I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it
I hate
for
these
us.
average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
I just wanna live. God protect me. I just wanna live. I just wanna live.
Good morning, Grand Rising. Happy Friday Eve to all of y'all out there. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday, and we have another great lineup for y'all today, as always. And you guys know it is me and my guy, Big O, bringing you the news that y'all can view. Hey, what's up?
Hey, Trey Holiday. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Big O. How are you, man?
I'm good. I see you got your Central District shirt on.
You know, representing, man. CD, of course. CD's on, man. CD or
CD or
see
me, huh?
You know it.
All right. That's what's up. Good morning, everybody. Want to welcome you to the Morning Update Show. Remind you that right now is a perfect opportunity for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people that you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over there at the South Seattle Emerald, and also KBCS 91.3 out at Bellevue College. Also, want to remind you that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you find your favorite podcast. So we'll put the link. There it is. Oh, they made me small. Can I be big? There we go. That's SoundCloud right there, and that link is in the comments. But you can also go to Google. You can go to Apple iTunes, Spotify, anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. You can listen to the Morning Update Show. Got this in here. PSC, want to continue to remind people about this. The utility moratorium it ends July 31st. I think we got something for that. Okay. The utility moratorium ends July 31st. Even though the governor has just announced the rental moratorium continues on beyond July 31st. You see it over there? Okay. Well, we've got the link. We'll put the link in the comments right there. And so if basically PSC, if you're a PSC customer and you have a bill that's behind, if you qualify, there it is. PSC is offering COVID bill assistance. If you have a bill that you're behind on, you can reach out to PSC. The link is there in the comments. The utility moratorium ends July 31st. If you qualify, you can get assistance up to $2,500. Please don't wait. The housing moratorium continues to get extended, but the utility moratorium probably will not, and that ends on July 31st. Also, a message here from Public Health, Seattle King County, about the vaccine. I want to continue to remind you that the COVID-19 vaccine is always free. So if they're asking you to Venmo for the vaccine, that's Fugazi. We put that link in the comments as well, where you can find your closest vaccination location here in the city of Seattle. And today, we're talking about a bunch of stuff. We're going to touch a little bit on this critical race theory, this hearing that was there in the Congress yesterday in the House of Representatives. The mayoral candidates were talking about reparations and the taking black pride, so we'll jump into that. And also the property princess, Gusti Clark's going to be here talking about ways that people can stay in a home or buy a home right now with all these different changes going on, moratoriums and some of everything else.
Yeah, it's a lot of information to cover, and really we started this because we wanted to make sure that our audience was informed about COVID resources, and these resources just continue to pour in. I mean, we are seeing it time and time again. These eviction moratoriums being extended. We're also seeing this utility assistance. We're seeing a wide variety of resources that are out there. So I'm excited to talk to Gusti Clark about some of these resources for renters and homeowners.
Right. Want to remind everybody that a great way to support independent black media while looking fresh and showing your pride is our pride shirts. There it is, right there. There's Trey, Oya, Omi. You can go to whereweconverge.com/shop. Like I said, a great way to look good and support the cause.
Absolutely. I'm loving that we are giving them a wide variety of ways to support, because we totally love and appreciate all the support y'all pour into Converge right here.
Right. Before we jump into everything, we're going to jump into everything right here. This is from the Seattle Police Department Twitter. This was last night. We can get that up. Detectives investigating triple shooting in the Rainier Valley. So triple shooting last night out in the Rainier Valley. There was one person who the Seattle Police Department encountered on the scene, and two other people transported themselves to Harborview.
Wow. I mean, we keep seeing it, and it's starting to become like a really important piece. It's always been. But the fact that almost every week at least we've been able to report on some type of shooting. And to be honest, this is, how we're experiencing that 36% uptick in gun violence. We're seeing it play out time and time again. So just, as always, I want to extend love to those families, right? If you are or are not watching, if you know them, make sure they understand that us right here at Converge, we understand how important it is that they be surrounded by love and peace during this time. I mean, nobody wants to be a victim of a shooting, man. No one does. No one wants that for their family. And so I always think about the families, man. This is just unfortunate. 3 people now at this point. That's too much.
I mean, and it's not even every week now in the city of Seattle. Oftentimes there's several days in a row where there's a shooting, a murder, a stabbing, an act of violence here. And, I definitely don't have all the answers, but this is something that we can't just look the other way on either. This violence here is impacting not only our community, but the city as a whole, and this is something that we need to stay on top of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Before I go any further, I see that my mom is watching, and so my mom is down in Montgomery, Alabama. I want to say hello to all my family down there in Montgomery, Alabama. You know, one of our prized, beloved elders passed away yesterday morning, my grandma Alice, at 92 years old. Imagine the life well lived, most of her life right there in Montgomery, Alabama. And, you know, it's crazy because in talking to her, I could learn. Can I get the camera right here? Thank you. In talking to her, to my grandma Alice, I mean, it's such a wealth of knowledge. You know, they say it's an African proverb that says that when an elder passes away, a library like burns to the ground. And so you could imagine, you know, her life there in Montgomery. And a lot of people, when you think about the struggle for civil rights and everything, sometimes Montgomery is overlooked. And you go there and you see all of these historic places in Montgomery, Alabama. So definitely want to send a lot of love to my Walden family down there in Montgomery, Alabama. And, you know, Grandma Alice, 92. What a blessing.
You know what a blessing indeed. And I just echo that, sending love to Mama Reverend Walden out there and all of the other Walden family members. You know, when we think about what success looks like in terms of a life well lived, so many of us really want to see ourselves being able to see the 90s, being able to be like, you know what, I lived a great life. I was here for my family. I do have so many different stories to tell. And honestly, I can only imagine what somebody who's 92, what they witnessed throughout this lifetime, because it's been so much stuff in 92 years, man. So just sending love.
Yeah, well, you know, Grandma Salisbury, she passed away at 95. My dad told me, he was like, you know, longevity runs in your genes, son. You just got to stay away from, what do you say? Stay away from bad decisions, bad women, and bad alcohol.
There you go.
I was like, damn, you making it tough, Pops. All right. Taking it to the national story right now. This General Mark Milley was sitting there in the House of Representatives, and Matt Gaetz tried to hit it with some woke talk. Man, you guys is being woke, talking about this critical race theory in West Point and some of everything else, right? And I think that he thought that he was going to get the best of Secretary Austin and General Milley. But General Milley, this is the clapback right here to Matt Gaetz' questions about critical race theory, especially there at West Point.
Sure. First of all, on the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university. And it is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it. So what is it that caused thousands of people to assault this building and try to overturn the Constitution of the United States of America? What caused that? I want to find that out. I want to maintain an open mind here, and I do want to analyze it. It's important that we understand that because our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians, they come from the American people. So it is important that the leaders, now and in the future, do understand it. I've read Mao Zedong. I've read Karl Marx. I've read Lenin. That doesn't make me a communist. So what is wrong with understanding, having some situational understanding about the country for which we are here to defend? And I personally find it offensive that we are accusing the United States military, our general officers, our commissioned, non-commissioned officers, of being, quote, woke or something else because we're studying some theories that are out there. It was started at Harvard Law School years ago, and it proposed that there were laws in the United States, antebellum laws prior to the Civil War, that led to a power differential with African Americans that were 3/4 of a human being when this country was formed. And then we had a Civil War and Emancipation Proclamation to change it. And we brought it up to the Civil Rights Act in 1964. It took another 100 years to change that. So look it, I do want to know. And I respect your service, and you and I are both Green Berets. But I want to know. And it matters to our military and the discipline and cohesion of this military. And I thank you for the opportunity to make a comment on that.
Thank you, General.
That just gave me chills, because how often do we get to hear an older white man coming from that perspective? I got to be honest. There's these ideals that, hey, those folks that are, military born and bred, that, believe in this country, there's blinders up. And I love to be able to see right there a real example, a true, example. And for so many of us to see that that's not the case. I was just talking yesterday about transformative change, and critical race theory is a part of that. I agree so much with General Billy right there, because ultimately it's on all of us to get educated. We have to remove these blinders, and I love that it's coming from his perspective. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, he has a good point there. That West Point is a university. And it's like, no matter what, if you want to be a specialist in anything you're doing, you study what other people are doing. Most theology schools around the world, you can't graduate with a theology degree unless you studied other religions, right? So, you're in your religious path, but you still study other religions. And so for people to say that now as a country, that it's not even okay to learn, right? And there's so many different laws and everything that are out there. People are scared to learn, which is crazy here. I think that people, we should want to learn and understand everything. Here at Convergence, we talk to everybody, especially even during the protests, talk to all different ranges of people and ideas and everything else. It's disappointing what's coming out there in Washington, D.C., but tonight, Clapback Culture at 7 o'clock, Julia and Mike are taking up this issue of critical race theory and the debate around it.
I was just about to say, I know our folks, Julia Jesse and Mike Davis, are going to take this issue on, because it is becoming, again, so politicized in our nation. And, something else that General Milley really said there that I think is so important, we learn from the history, looking at how we've gotten laws passed. When he talked about civil rights laws, it's so crucial to us being able to progress, not only as a nation, but as individuals. When we think about the ideas that are so embedded in so much of our society, we talk about it from an equity standpoint in community. And I know I talk about it daily from that same standpoint in terms of, hey, how are we going to deal with the past? How are we going to atone for these atrocities? So much of it is about us learning about them first and foremost. And like you said, really being open to learning it. And I think that there's a real fear here for folks who are really comfortable in white supremacy and white privilege. And even if it's unbeknownst to them, that's kind of the basis here, some of the framework for why a lot of folks will be like, I don't want to even hear that. I don't, believe in that. No, it's time to open up your eyes and get this truth.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you just look at the Tulsa Black Wall Street massacre, and that was the largest and most reported on of several massacres that were similar to that. And that's something that was never really taught. That for a lot of us, that was an oral history that was passed down to us. That's something that wasn't taught in school. And so there's so many, and the history is there. The problem is that people don't even want to put facts out there, and people to make their own determination around facts. Even the facts are omitted, and it's very problematic as to what's happening here. Hopefully, it's much different than even when our parents were in school, or even when we were in school. There's so much access to information. That's why I would encourage our viewers to take it upon themselves to be their own historians. I mean, I was fortunate. I grew up in a home with two historians, my mom and my dad. Just a love of history, a love of research and everything else. But we've got to dig deep. Moving on here to local news. So the Mayor Durkin had a press conference yesterday about 3 blocks up, and there at the press conference there was a lot of members of the downtown business district. The mayor talked about an initiative that's going on, some of this money, this recovery money that's going in to boost business downtown. I bumped into John Scholes, and He is the president of the DSA, the Downtown Seattle Association, an association that represents a lot of businesses and property owners and stakeholders in downtown. And we've brought this up before, where we talked about how downtown was so vacant, it presented an opportunity for different businesses. It's unfortunate to businesses without a business because of the pandemic, but it creates an opportunity, usually at a bargain, for other businesses, maybe businesses in our community and other communities, to come into downtown. Well, John Scholes said yesterday that downtown was open for business at this press conference, where people want to come down there and do business. So you know me, I had to pull him to the side, and I wanted to drill down. Is it open for business? Is it open for business for black people and for other people of color? And this is what he said. What opportunities do you see in the downtown corridor, especially like for black-owned businesses, BIPOC-owned businesses who before might not have ever imagined being able to have a business in the downtown corridor?
Well, we have lots of vacancy now, and so where there's vacancy, there's opportunity. And we want downtown Seattle to be the easiest place in the region for anybody to open a business, to come in with your idea, take your risk with your investment, with your capital, and open the doors and bring a new idea, particularly folks who didn't have that opportunity before, folks throughout our region, folks from marginalized communities. We should be doing everything we can with private sector, city working together on a small business incubation program that's really focused on BIPOC businesses and BIPOC entrepreneurs and innovators. So this is the easiest place in our region to start a new business. That should be our goal collectively between the private sector and city government.
So downtown is open for business for people from my community and other communities here in Seattle across the region.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, I always just get right to the point. I'm like, man, is this open for black people to come down here and want to set up shop and everything else, you know? Because there is, even right here on our block, there's so many empty locations that are out there. And I know some people viewing this might be like, man, you know what, go downtown, open a business, you know, I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know if I could do that and everything else. And so I'm putting a challenge to our community to, you know, let's have the DSA and the city of Seattle really step up big and meet black business owners halfway or more and see who we can get downtown. And before you say, man, I don't know, that can never happen, let's hop in the Converge Media time machine here and show you a story of somebody who in the middle of the pandemic opened a store in a luxury mall right here, Pacific Place. This is a segment from November of last year, shot by Jake Gravbrot along with Eric Calligraphy, Bobby Stills at the time. This is Debonair Decor. This is back in November of last year when they first opened up in Pacific Place.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Eric Calligraphy with Converge Media, and today I'm here with my brother KJ Kyle with Debonair Decor. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. What was your inspiration behind the store and how this all came to be?
My name is Kyle Jaquay here. Debonair Decor. I'll just get straight to it, man. Essentially, the brand is just to honor my mother and my brother who both recently passed away in the last couple years. My brother, you know, it just hit me hard. I was trying to just really get used to my mom, and then it happened with him. So, you know, I just was feeling like I was going into a dark place and I had to do something. I couldn't sleep, so I just started drawing. And I came up with my logo, the two D's, which represent Deborah and Dion, and the two wings represent them now as my guardian angels. So Debonair is confident, stylish, fashionable, witty, charisma, you know what I'm saying, book smart, street smart. That was my brother. That was me. We're a lot alike. So that's where the Debonair comes. And the decor come piece is to honor my mom when we were younger and growing up in Inglewood. We had crazy colored couches and beautiful like pastel colored drapes and plates and chandeliers and whatnot. And she was really into furniture and really neat and really into different colors. So the couture is kind of like the colors you see in the store is kind of to honor them. And who would ever thought I would be in the Pacific Place as a black-owned business opening during a global pandemic. So I'm humbled, I'm thankful, and I'm grateful for all the support. And I want to push this thing to the limits. You know, who knows where it'll go. I'm happy that my daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, she's in there painting and folding and sweeping and cleaning. So, like, she's seeing, you know, kind of how to be a business owner and whatnot. And just had the soft grand opening day before yesterday. But we're going to do, like, another big thing, Black Friday and another thing. So it's a dope spot. Obviously, this was the old Coach store. I mean, we got crazy fixtures in here. We got suede walls. We got a lot of dope art. You know what I'm saying? Honor Biggie, one of my favorite rappers. Jay-Z and Nas, they're legends. And obviously, rest in peace, Nipsey. It's keeping me alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I needed something to kind of create, and it's helped me tap in with, my creativity. So I kind of always wanted to do my own store. But this store and this brand is special because, it sucks that my brother's gone. But obviously, I would rather have him alive. But if he was alive, I might have eventually did a brand, but it definitely wouldn't have been this name. So just, the meaning behind it, it's just dear to my heart. And, it's emotional. A lot of times I don't feel like going. Like the other day I was here to 3:30 working, and you're frustrated and you don't right, but you got to just keep going. And I know they wouldn't want me to quit. So like I said, I'm putting everything into it. And as Bro would say, he would always tell me, you're filthy. So I'm just going to, like I said, when I get down, think about that and just keep going. And I think from, I'm doing this on my own dollar. You know what I'm saying? Haven't had any investors yet. You know what I'm saying? Because I know they're coming. You know what I'm saying? They're going to hop on,
What they say
man.
in the church,
Speak
that to existence.
Get in while you can, man, because the price is going up. You feel me? But yeah, man. So it's like having a baby, man. Like obviously I have 2 kids, and it's like a new project, and I'm really like I'm hungry. Like I don't sleep. I think about it. I wake up thinking about how can I make it better? How can I give excellent customer service?
You're doing your thing, and you mentioned your daughter, right?
Absolutely.
You're not only a black business in Pacific Place. What is to you the importance of you being a black-owned business
think,
here in Pacific Place?
I think it's teaching my kid the importance of. He understands, like, to my daughter it's a store, but my son is like, how the hell did you pull this off? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think the importance is showing my kids work ethic and showing them grinding more than anything, showing them being resilient, because stuff happens and life happens, and the only thing that we all promised in life is death. And this really, I just keep going because my mom was like that. She never quit. When you see me grinding, you see me up at Chop, and you see me on Union, and I really was selling out the trunk and getting out the mud. Like, this is just come overnight. Like, I've been working 12 and 16 hours. I don't sleep. So it's like, and I haven't used this word in a long time, but I'm happy that I didn't quit, and I'm happy that just a vision and a dream and some hard work what it came to. And I think this is just the beginning.
Just the beginning indeed, man. My brother Kyle, shout out to you. Debonair Decor, and you're absolutely right, Omari. Look, that is a great representation of what can happen. So, let's challenge each other. Let's challenge those folks in community. If you guys have had that idea, you've been ruminating on it for a long time. If you are one of those vendors that we've been seeing at all of these amazing events all throughout King County and Pierce County, Snohomish County, we have seen so many amazing black vendors. If you got that product, man, and it's going off every time, it might be time for you to get into brick and mortar, and do not sleep on downtown as an opportunity, because Kyle surely didn't. And like he said, that is just the beginning, man. He's actually doing really well there. And I keep hearing so many people touching base with him because he's right there visible in Pacific Place.
Right. I mean, one thing that we're seeing with Debonair Decor is that, there's some people who might not have found a culturally relevant reason to come downtown and shop. And, his store alone is attracting people who might not necessarily come downtown, who might have stopped visiting Pacific Place years ago and other shops that are there. I would say this, that it's important for our community to, the mayor put it out there. The DSA put it out there. They're saying that the downtown is definitely open. It's a place for black businesses, BIPOC businesses to set up shop. So let's keep them to their word. And what I don't have, I wanted to have like a resource list today to be able to tell people, these are the first steps. These are people to talk to and everything else. So I'll report back on that. We'll also put it on our website. But it's important when elected officials and leaders of groups as big as DSA say that, hey, you know what, you're welcome here. Let's meet them at the welcome mat, and let's see what black business is, what businesses or people of color that we can get open downtown in all this vacant space.
Hey, it's a great challenge to community. Oh, that's for sure. I will say that. I mean, we were, talking so heavily about opportunities at the port. And here we have the mayor, we have the DSA, we have these guys literally saying it is open for business and that they're going to be intentional about ensuring that, hey, Black folks and indigenous folks and other businesses of color understand those opportunities. So I love this challenge to our community. Oh.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely be following back up with DSA. I'll see if I can get back on the line with John Scholes over at DSA, and let's talk about what resources are there for people. First steps, when you just talk about downtown, like who should you talk to first? Where are the opportunities? What businesses are leading? What businesses are lagging? Where is there business gaps downtown and everything else? But see, a lot of times. News like this comes out all the time, but a lot of times, man, we might not necessarily be watching or hear about it. And so it's just important to me, and it's important to us at Converge, that we spread along this message for people in our community and beyond, because they've put it out there. And, there are resources. There's a lot of intentional money that's going into downtown from this rescue plan and everything else. And I mean, when we talk about resources, a lot of time we're thinking, just in our particular communities, but these are all taxpayer dollars. So communities should take advantage of any opportunities that they can have in downtown. All right, so moving on, very interesting yesterday, there was a candidate forum hosted by Vocal Washington, and it was moderated by Deontay Dempor of the Black Lives Matter Seattle King County. And the issue of taking Black pride came up. And a lot of the candidates were there. You had Harold Gonzalez, Farrell, Ace Houston, Lance Reed, Rivers, a few other people. Oh, Echo Hawk. And of course, almost everybody there, I think everybody was like, yo, what's this crap? All these people they pulled out who were going to attend the Capitol Hill Pride event, they pulled out, and they're basically almost all of them said that they're backing the Taking Black Pride. So that wasn't necessarily news from this, because that's come out. But the conversation around reparations was tied into the question with taking Black pride. And there was a few answers here where people actually went into it a bit. And who went into it was Justin Farrell, Colleen Echo Hawk, and Lance Grant. And so we have some of the tape here from yesterday from this forum.
The actions of Capitol Hill Pride were deeply disappointing and offensive, and my campaign, following the lead of candidates of color on the mayor's race, pulled out. Thank you for your leadership. And we will be supporting Black Pride by paying the fee. Fundamentally, as a white person, there is an opportunity for my candidacy and my supporters to make sure that we are A, educating other white people about reparations and why that's so important, and B, why reverse discrimination is not a thing. And so not only is this an opportunity to, lift up and elevate Black and brown LGBTQ members of the community, but it's also an opportunity to be educating white people and my, people in my community around these two issues, so that we all are working together in this shared project of creating a just Seattle.
All right. Well, as a Native person, I love to talk about reparations, because I think that we owe so much to our communities who have built this country. And let's be clear, that is Black and Native people, and reparations should be part of every discussion. So I'm glad that we're talking about it today. And when it comes to what happened with Capitol Hill Pride, the moment we heard, we absolutely stood on the side of taking Black pride. This is vitally important for our city as we think about being our progressive city and living out our progressive values. Reparations is part of that, and we should be leading the way around the country. And so I am delighted to take part in taking back Black Pride. It's going to be a fun time, and look forward to supporting further our Black LGBTQ community members.
We have enough people in the city and enough parks where people can celebrate all over the city about Pride. It was a bad attempt. It should not have happened. And we pulled out as well. It was very disrespectful to try to use something that really bothered me, the word reverse discrimination. But the other thing is, the thing about reparations, and this is the one thing that we're now coming around to do, is we're being more bold in trying to push the conversation forward to see what type of reaction is going to happen. And I think this was a great move by the organization Black Pride to put it out there to see what type of response would the organization get if they put this on the table. Because in order to make this happen, there's going to have to be pressure on senators and Congress people to push reparations through to this country, which is way overdue. And this was a great opportunity to see how will people respond to an event like this. And we'll find out Saturday what the response will be. And I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised of how many of our white brothers and sisters are going to step up and go to that festival, which I'm going to go to as well, to say that, yes, we acknowledge the oppression, the damage that have been done to communities of color. And we are voluntarily attending this event and voluntarily paying to attend to show our solidarity and support for reparation, which is long overdue.
Reparations long overdue, and to be honest, it does my heart some joy, just adding to the joy I have to hear mayoral candidates speak on this issue. And I really appreciate the organizers of Taking Black Pride to utilize that language in terms of people not just paying the fee, but really cementing it in reparations. And, you know, to hear all of these candidates understand the value of that and the importance of that is so critical to me in terms of identifying where we are as a kind of, you know, the global majority. We've been dealing with this for so long. There's been so much harm caused. It is time to really elevate the conversation of reparations, getting it outside of just our own communities and our family, you know, talking at the dinner table, but really having this be something that is addressed by folks who are looking to have such a position of power as the mayor of Seattle. And also that, you know, groups are starting to really utilize that language to say, this is what's needed. Now is the time. And I agree with those candidates there, man. Again, it's unfortunate that Capitol Hill Pride came for Taking Black Pride because, you know, here we are now. We have people having to choose sides. And if they would have said nothing, that wouldn't have been the case. But I love that everybody is really understanding the value and the importance of this event coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of that, almost all the leading mayoral candidates said that they will be present at the event. And, you know, one of the big concerns that the event organizers are talking about is the number of threats. It's an incredible number of threats. Very bold, too. It isn't like, you know, anonymous threats, someone cutting out words out of a newspaper and mailing it or something. People are very bold with their face, their profile, and everything. And they're making threats against the organizers. Clearly, if you're going to have the top 5, 6, 7 mayoral candidates in attendance on Saturday, you know, there might be other thought processes as far as making sure that this event is very secure. Yeah. But you know, they're taking the threats against this man, that's a lot of hate out there. It's incredible. It's overwhelming, the amount of hate that's going towards this event and the event organizers. But yeah, the candidates, like I said, they've all kind of taken a stand there and said that they'll be there.
And one of the things I want to really uplift here is that, you know, as we've dealt with this, I mean, I got to be honest here. There's threats that come for so many different events, and we've been able to really have these peaceful events because, you know, defense is there. Security is very aware and alert of how all of this works. But I got to say that I also see the love pouring into this event, clearly from mayoral candidates, but I'm hearing about it from so many different people people that it's exciting to me. And honestly, the love will stamp out the hate. So, if people want to try to throw their threats in there, be bold about it, say what they're going to do. We've seen it before, people kind of trolling or, carrying on in that regard. But ultimately, I'm really, elated to know that, the organizers of this event are taking those threats seriously while also steeping themselves in the love that is expected to just pour out at this event. And again, shout out to all those mayoral candidates who will be in attendance. It's a great event to support.
All right, before we end this segment here, I'm always looking for some good news. This was a really good news show when it started, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. But this comes from West Seattle and actually comes from the West Seattle blog website. We can go ahead and put this one up. In the Heart is a New Orleans speakeasy in the middle of West Seattle. And this is from West Seattle blog. And that's the writer is Ruby Tuesday Marino, right? And it says here that smack dab in the middle of West Seattle, you can find a fashion boutique by the name of Lika Love. The face behind the threads, Malika Sadiq, is intelligent, humble, and full of passion for her work. Now she's added a so-called speakeasy called In the Heart. In a true speakeasy tradition, it has no signage, and you enter through an alley. You can we put the link there in the comments. This is on the West Side Seattle website. It's a this is our kind of joint.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. I read that story and it really gave my heart, again, just so much joy, elating me, because the truth of the matter is that, man, this reminds me of what we had when we talk about Jackson Avenue Jazz and so many different little spots that were more like underground and people just knew about them through word of mouth. So I love this idea of a speakeasy. I love it being steeped in like New Orleans style. I can't wait to go visit. Oh, that's the truth.
It's a date.
It's a date. We're doing it.
All right. Hey, I'm going to get out of here. When we come back, you're going to be joined by the property princess herself, Gusti Clark, updating us on a few things going on with property and home ownership during pandemic and moratoriums and some of everything else. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Hey, it's Jake from Converge Media and Get the F Outside. I hope that all of you are taking advantage of the ability to be outdoors and enjoy nature as our summer months heat up. One other thing that you can take advantage of here in the King County area are free COVID-19 vaccinations. There's all kinds of options for pop-up clinics, and the vaccine is able to be administered to anyone 12 years and older. And did I mention that it's free? You don't need insurance, and they don't care what your citizenship status is. And that kind of sounds like the way things should be anyhow, but we'll save that for another conversation. Information and resources are available at kingcounty.gov/COVID, or you can call the COVID-19 call center at 206-477-3977. Washington, we are almost out of this, but we got to stay locked in for the home stretch. Let's get vaxxed out so we can max out our time with friends, family, and in the great outdoors.
Well, we love that line, Jake. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. Let's get maxed out so we can max out, right, IB? Absolutely. I'm really excited to be able to bring Miss Gusti Clark, Property Princess, onto our set today. Gusti, thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have some really great information to share, and I really want to be able to dive right in. I'll let you go ahead and get started because, folks need to hear about these resources.
Yeah, so first of all, as a realtor here in the Seattle area, I'm working with Keller Williams of Greater Seattle, but there's a lot of things that we're seeing here in terms of trends when it comes to home ownership and even the eviction moratorium, which I'll be jumping into. Lots of different updates about that. But first, starting with homeowners, first things first, and then do we have some slides here for us? Great. So first things first, all of these things are going to be ending, or so they've said, at the end of June. So this is why this is a very, very hot topic right now. First, starting with the mortgage forbearance. We all know that forbearance isn't new, right? So anyone who's a homeowner, that isn't new. It's just that under the CARES Act, they've done a couple of different programs and kind of extended a couple of things. That is supposed to be coming to an end. For those of us who are homeowners, a couple of things that we want to do is, if you are in that program, we certainly want to avoid heading to foreclosure, right? So there's 4 things that we can do. First thing we can do is reinstatement. So do we have that slide? There we go. So a couple of things we could do: reinstatement. Hopefully you've already been talking to your lender to kind of arrange what that might look like once the forbearance has ended, okay? So reinstatement meaning you're gonna pay it all at once. Of course, they cannot force you to do that. So I don't know if many people know that, but that's a really good thing. They cannot force you to do that. That's great. The second thing you can do is just the different repayment plans. So for example, if you've been on the forbearance for, 10 months and you're that much behind, right? A couple of things that they do is they either tack it onto your mortgage at the end, or they're adding it to your monthly payment. So those are a couple of things, but again, you want to look at the clear detail about what your repayment plan is. The third thing you can do is a loan modification. Now, that's modifying your current loan. That is not the same thing as a reinstatement or of your loan, okay? So you definitely want to understand what those things are around that. And then the fourth, of course, is just cashing out or selling altogether. Now, another thing that we're hearing a lot is the market is hot. Yes, of course it is. Lots of things have been going on. It's been inflated with, home prices. There's lots of home buyers right now because rates are really low. So that's driving all the demand, okay? So if you do decide to cash out of your home, you're probably going to be able to pull out all that equity. So then that makes sense, right? For those who that may make sense for.
Yeah, I mean, that's already so much information. And I know we were talking a little bit about just my situation, right? I've never purchased a home. I really wanted to try to purchase a home before my son, graduates high school. So I got about 3 years that's pressing on me. What does it really look like for first-time home buyers?
Oh, so there are so many programs that are here to help. First-time home buyer programs, down payment assistance. Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you have a credit score of 580 or greater, you can actually afford a home. Yeah.
580, Gusti.
You can get approved. That is the thing. So I don't know if everybody knows that, but you technically can, okay? There's different programs, so, check in with different lenders would be the right thing to do. Go ahead and get pre-approved to kind of see where you stand around that.
Yeah. And just one question there around pre-approval. I mean, let's say you're really just kind of trying to dip your toes in the water right now, right? I mean, like you said, a lot of folks out there, a lot of the chatter is talking about the hot market. I'm seeing, homes go on the market and they're gone in like 2 days and they go way above listing price, right? But if you're trying to figure out, okay, how much can I actually afford? What does it look like once you get that initial information and they say, look, you're approved for this amount of a loan? What do you really have to do then if you're not quite ready yet, or if you kind of want to wait out? What is some of the suggestions you have?
Sure. So first things first is getting pre-approved, right? So when they tell you your total amount, that means your max amount you could go out and spend. That doesn't mean that you want to go spend that amount, but that's what you could go spend, right? They're also going to be asking you how much do you want to pay monthly, okay? Oftentimes, mortgages are cheaper than rent. And the other thing is rent tends to go up every month when your mortgage rate is just going to stay the same. So that's the other benefit of being a homeowner. So when you're connecting with your lender, they're going to talk you through all those options. You go get pre-approved and you can choose to continue shopping, or you could just say, okay, at least I know where I stand, so I know what my options are, so I can make my plans for me and my family and what makes sense.
And how long does that pre-approval last? If you don't buy at that time, do you have to do that process all over again whenever you're ready? Is there like a 6-month kind of timeline? What does that look like?
I'd say about 3 to 6 months. If after kind of the 3 months and you want to start engaging, your lender is definitely going to just double check a couple of things, make sure things haven't changed in terms of your finance, credit score, and so forth. But then you can continue shopping. The most important thing is getting pre-approved so that you know where you stand. Also with lenders, another thing they'll do is tell you, okay, here are a couple of things you might want to pay down so that we can get a better rate for you. Okay.
So they will give you that information. I think there's this misnomer that, so many different people involved in the home buying process are kind of looking out for self. Can you help dispel some of those myths in terms of how the knowledge is being utilized to really benefit and help out the homeowner themselves, or the one that's really looking?
Right. So we definitely always want to do our research just to prepare and understand what that even means to be owning a home, right? It's so different from coming from the renter side to going to own a home. When something breaks, it's you who has to pay for it. There's no one to call in that way, right? So we want to do our research starting in that and understanding what that even means. Connecting with lenders. There's several lenders that I work with that are really great at learning how to, at helping you kind of make the magic and helping those payments be exactly where you want them to be and understand the down payment and so forth. So that's where that comes in. It's really helpful, but you definitely want to kind of talk to a couple of people. I like mortgage brokers instead of like the big banks, for example. So Bank of America, some of the other big players don't always have the best products available. So mortgage brokers can also help you with that and kind of find out which loan products are going to be best for you in your situation.
Wow, Gusti, there's so much information here. Honestly, it's really exciting. I mean, we talk about it on this platform all the time right here on the Morning Update Show about how hot Seattle is, and Seattle being the #2 city for growth, even during COVID. So many people moving here, right? And so that also drives up costs.
That's true.
But you also shared with me that there's other opportunities, right? So even if you're looking to kind of purchase now and do it as a rental property, explain that to the audience.
Yeah, definitely. So another thing that I've been helping a lot of clients with is just buying a rental property as their first home altogether. I tell my clients that this doesn't have to be your forever home. This is your starter home. Not always do we need to have the starter home as the home that we live in. For example, condos are at really great affordable prices right now because a lot of families are wanting to move out to the suburbs, to larger homes and so forth. So condos are great because you can purchase them, you can rent them out, you can do short-term rentals and kind of continue to generate income, take that equity out, and then go buy the home that you would like to live in later. So there's lots of different options in how you can do that. But getting pre-approved is the first things first, so you know where you stand.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I have several friends that have recently bought homes in the last year or so. So during this COVID pandemic, they've bought homes and they've said to me, you know what, the misnomer about needing, $50,000 and all of this kind of stuff before you even, for a down payment. I want you to be able to describe that too, because I think that's another myth buster here in terms of people thinking, I just don't have the money to even start.
Right, that is not true at all. So that is a #1 myth, absolutely, about needing to have 20% down and things like that. There are what's called a FHA loan, or there's even VA loans or USDA loans where you can get them. They're kind of government backed, so you don't necessarily have to have the 20% down. You can do 3.5%, and there's also down payment assistance. So there's a family that I just helped, and they were able to get about $10,000 down in down payment assistance, and then they used one of those government-backed loans, so then they were able to get into a house. Wow. So there's a lot of things that can be done, and I'd be happy to speak with anybody who may be interested in kind of knowing what their options are. But that's the first things first, which brings us into renters right now, right? Yes. So the whole eviction moratorium, and what does that look like? Actually, 10:30 this morning, Government Inslee came on and made an announcement about how they're going to extend like this bridge, okay? So the bridge is not necessarily an extension of the forbearance, but it's meant to keep the landlords from being able to evict anyone until September 30th, okay? So a couple of things that you can do there. First and foremost, you definitely want to reach out to your landlord to be able to put in place some kind of payment plan. If you're on a payment plan, they cannot evict you, okay? Also, you may have heard recently that Seattle has extended their moratorium to September 30th, along with Kenmore and Kirkland as well. But statewide, we have been granted this additional time. That's good for us because now it gives us a little bit more room to make some plans and make some significant impacts in our housing situation. Okay, so first thing you can do is make that repayment plan. The second thing you can do is access some public resources. So I've dropped a couple of links on my website where any renters can access them to figure out what they can do about getting some help. Organizations like Solid Ground and even the governor has just released $650 million in federal relief to help you get back on track with your payments on your rent. So that's great for us, right? We want to access these resources. And then, of course, the third thing I would say is be paying attention to your credit. That's a really huge thing. Like I mentioned, you can get a home loan with 580 credit score, okay? So in some cases, it might make sense to now step into the home ownership position so that you can continue to move forward and make, some significant impacts in your housing situation for you and your family.
Yeah, and you just went over so many of the different resources. So there is such a major difference from resources that are available to renters versus resources that are available to homeowners. Help the audience understand how there is such a difference. And if they're a little bit shy right now about becoming a homeowner, there's actually, I think, maybe even more resources, right? In terms of them being able to be capped out, like you said, some more information that you were sharing in that regard.
Absolutely. So there's definitely more benefits on the side of being a homeowner, right? The city supports it, government supported, banks and everyone is supporting this because, of course, you're a taxpayer and you're paying taxes and all that good stuff. They want to see you stay in your home. When it comes to the forbearances, some have been granted forbearances for up to 18 months, okay? There's a lot of help and resources to help you stay in your home. When it comes to renters, that may not be the case, okay? So right now we have the extension, but that's going to end at some point. So if we have a little bit of savings, I definitely encourage to be thinking about the home buying process because that's more of a stable solution, more long term. As we all know, rents keep going up. So even if you did get back on your repayment plan, at some point that rent is going to go back up or moving and so on and so forth because of inflation and things like that. But the good thing about getting the loan and owning a home, your payment is locked in. You have room to do a lot of things with that. Again, later you can take out the equity, take that and do something else with it, reinvest it in a different kind of way. Or you can just rent it out or even rent portions of your house out, like a backyard unit or something like that, to help pay for your mortgage. So there's a lot more help and resources and opportunities when you're on the home buying side. So I definitely want to encourage all of my community to really be thinking about this realistically because now is a really great opportunity for us to jump into the position of home ownership since there's so many resources available.
Wow, Gusti, we thank you so much for sharing this information. Before I let you go, is there any thing we haven't covered that you want to make sure the audience is aware of?
Yeah, I'd be happy to have conversations with any of you that are worried about kind of what's next and how to step into the different positions or what that may look like for you. You can always visit my website at www.gusticlark.com to access some of the resources too. And since Governor Inslee just made that announcement this morning, I'll be posting that to my website so that you can also just double check that and look through the detail and understand what the bridge actually means. You will be required to pay rent as of August 1st. So that's regardless if you're in a plan or not in the plan. But I definitely want to encourage everyone to start reaching out and start accessing the help you need because we don't want to get to the end of this and then you have no more options.
Wow. Once again, Gusti Clark, Property Princess, man, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
It was so timely for us to be able to give that information to our audience. And, you know, O said it earlier. I mean, this started as a real resource show. So we want to be able to keep that thorough line here. And Gusti, you've joined us before. We just appreciate your presence and appreciate what you're doing out there to make sure that our community is educated and informed as they are renters or homeowners.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. You guys heard it from Gusti here herself. Plenty of resources for you out there. I got to wrap the show up with my guy, Big O. So stay tuned. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. You're watching The Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap-ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
All right, gotta bring the mic up, right? Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. We're up against it, so we're getting ready to get out of here. But I did want to bring this up tonight, clapback culture. We got a very beautiful photo right here from Jake Gravbrot. Clapback culture tonight at 7 p.m. Julia Jesse and Mike Davis, and they're talking about critical race theory and a few other topics, so you want to make sure and tune in tonight at 7. We're almost out of time. Any last words for anybody today?
You know, guys, for me, just see yourself as a part of the solution. Clearly, Gusti Clark has. Clearly, so many of the organizers, all the organizers taking Black Pride have done that. There's so many different things to be inspired by out here. You guys get inspired and see yourself as part of that inspiration.
All right, good stuff. Sending lots of love and energy to my family down there in Montgomery, Alabama. Yeah, I think I'll make it down there, back to Montgomery. I was down in Montgomery last year. I actually drove by my niece Isis. She goes to school there at Tuskegee, which is, as they say down south, 2 hoops and a holler from Montgomery. And she has a horse. She's had a horse ever since she was in, like, I don't know, middle school or high school. And last year, I guess it was 2 years ago now, man, I drove with her and the horse from Seattle all the way to Tuskegee, Alabama. And up until the Seattle protest, I was like, this is the scariest thing I've ever done. Taking that horse cross country, oh my God. But so it's been 2 years since I was in Montgomery, so looking forward to getting back there and connecting with everybody. But as usual, I want to leave you with this. Go forward in your purpose. Go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow, I'm not sure, but definitely Monday. We're working it out, man. Peace.
Lift every voice and sing, dealer than heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song. of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day.